In today's video, I'm giving away my Google Ads optimization catalog. This is the exact list of our weekly, monthly, and quarterly recurring optimizations that we run on our client accounts at my Google Ads agency, Big Flare. Grab a copy of this list and run these optimizations regularly in your account if you too want to optimize your Google Ads account like a pro. Now, first up, I'm going to walk you through how the optimization catalog actually works, and we'll do a little screen share so that I can walk you through that, and then hang around till later when I'm actually just going to share a copy of this thing with you so that you can take it away and use it yourself. Also, if you are an e-commerce advertiser, you're definitely going to want to hang around till later in the video because I'm also going to share my 200 plus action point checklist specifically for e-commerce Google Ads campaigns. All right, with that said, let's dive in. Okay, so here we are on the optimization catalog. This is a Asana project template, and we use this as a template and we sort of copy and paste it into every client account, and it serves as a sort of catalog of optimizations that we can do on a recurring basis. And these are the things that you need to be doing in every account to make sure that it's really well maintained. Now, this doesn't capture everything you need to be doing in your Google Ads account. There's a whole lot more than this, because a lot of the work in a well-run Google Ads account is what we call initiatives. It's sort of one-off initiatives, it's adapting to the marketplace, it's making sure that you're being fully responsive to what's going on in the business and the marketplace right now, testing new things. But this checklist is not for initiatives. This is for the recurring things that you just need to tick off on a weekly, monthly, or daily basis to make sure your account is well maintained. So one of the important things to do on a weekly basis, and I'm not going to run through every single one of these. I'm going to run through some of the most important ones with you here today. And if you want a full copy of this entire checklist, then I'm going to share a link to that with you a little bit later on. But first of all, let's dive into the weekly account review. Now, I think this is the most important checkpoint on this entire catalog. And it's also the one that requires quite a lot of your own creative input. Like, you need to know how to run a Google Ads account to be able to really do a weekly account review really well. And if you keep watching my YouTube channel, I promise you will get to the level where you can run this process really, really well. But what do I mean when I say you need to be a bit pro level with this? Well, let's scroll down. So in each of these items, we've got like a little checklist. And here's the checklist for the weekly account review. So you start off by looking over the account with fresh eyes. You really need to kind of think outside the box. You're not looking at the account thinking, okay, what weekly items am I going to tick from the list today? No, this is looking at the account with fresh eyes. Try and look at your account with fresh eyes every single week if you can. And then once you're looking at the account with fresh eyes, look for new problems and opportunities. And this is the bit where expertise and a pro-level understanding of Google Ads really comes into play, because the more you understand Google Ads, the better you are at understanding the way it works, the metrics, the data points to look for, then the better you're going to be able to do this, look for new problems and opportunities. If anything is quick and easy to do, then just fix it right away. So this is our process. Like, as we're reviewing each account once a week, if you find a quick, easy fix, just do it. If it's less than 5 minutes, do it. For anything longer or harder, add to the list. So then it goes back into our Asana project, tagged with a date and an assignee for completion later on, because at this point we don't want to do long, chunky tasks. We want to keep this quick and simple and get through this account review process so that we're then set for the rest of the week. Oh, you should really be doing this at the beginning of the week, by the way, because it sets you up for the rest of the week. Then you prioritize your to-do list and then just start executing things once you are at the end of your weekly account review. Things to look at. So these are just some ideas. We find this checklist helpful just as a reminder of some of the data points you can look at when you're reviewing your account each week. But you want to look at your impression shares, week over week performance. Having a good reporting system set up for this is really useful, by the way. Look at your reports, your client reports, your bids and budgets, super important. In fact, I would actually just I usually do that first, bids and budgets before everything else. Is the most important thing to look at first when you're doing your weekly account review. Top spenders, like where the money goes, your eyes go. Like, look at the things that are spending the most first. So in all my screens in Google Ads, I list it in descending order of cost. So my campaign screen, descending order of cost. Ad group screen, descending order of cost. Keyword screen, descending order of cost. So if you click into any of my Google Ads account, you will see always the top spending thing at the top. So it's a little tip for you there. Whenever you're in Google Ads, click the cost column and order it in descending order of cost, and then immediately your eyes are going to look at the most important thing first, second most important thing second, because, well, really the level of importance is dictated by how much money the thing is spending, right? Year-on-year performance, that's good to do a sort of zoom out look, especially if you're in a seasonal business. You do want to be paying close attention each week to your year-on-year performance, because that can help you make sense of week-on-week or month-on-month changes that might not have made sense otherwise. Shopping products and approvals, super important, and I will cover this in a bit more detail a little bit later on. But you want to be checking all your products and your diagnostics and your approval settings in Google Merchant Center, in Google Ads every single week, because anything that gets disapproved, it's often quite easy to get it fixed, and anything that gets disapproved is you making less money than you could. So you want to check that every single week. Ad approvals, same reason. Some accounts are worse at this than other accounts, but especially if you're in something like supplements or a health product, you want to be checking your ad approvals every week. In fact, for some accounts, like for our supplements clients, we're checking the ad approvals every single day, because if you're in an account that tends to get flagged, you want to be on top of this every single day. So I say weekly, but all of this is flexible depending on the specifics of your account. Adalasis, notifications, alerts, and performance analyzer. So Adalasis is a super handy tool that we use at Big Flare that helps us manage lots of accounts at the same time efficiently. You might not have Adalasis, so skip this step if you don't have it. So that's the weekly account review. Now, what else is super important? I mentioned how bids and budgets is super important, and that's why it gets its own separate item here. For each of these items, by the way, they are linked to a SOP, a standard operating procedure. Now, unfortunately, all the SOPs that are linked in this optimization catalog, these are our internal SOPs, and it does have some client information in some of the screenshots in some of the SOPs. So if you grab a copy of my optimization catalog, you won't have access to these SOPs, unfortunately. It would just take me too long to get rid of all the client data inside of them, but let's have a look at one of them. So bids and budgets, your process here is all campaigns, set your date range to either 7 days or last 30 days. Check if bid strategies are optimal based on account KPIs and specifics. Check if the campaigns are limited by budget. That's super important. If you're getting campaigns that are losing impression share due to budget and they are on target in terms of your CPA or your ROAS, then generally you want to be raising your budgets. Check if the campaigns lose impression share due to budget. Yeah, if it's losing impression share due to budget and you're on target, increase your budget. Review campaigns under a manual CPC bid strategy. This is a really quick step for us these days because 95% of our accounts are actually on automated bid strategies, and most of the time I do recommend that you use target ROAS, target CPA, maximize conversions, maximize conversion value. I don't really see much of a place for manual CPC in this day and age. There are some specific circumstances where it is used, but most of the time we're not using it. Identify opportunities to scale up campaigns. Like most people in Google Ads, the primary goal is to grow, and so that's why you want to be looking at scaling opportunities every single week. Add a task in Asana to keep record of the changes. So this is just a little process that we do, but every change in the account gets added as a task in Asana, even if we've already done it. If I just made a change 5 minutes ago and it's something that really affects the results, I'm going to go back into Asana, add a task, tick it off, just so we've got our own change history. The change history in Google Ads it's just got so much stuff in there. It's really hard to make a sense of what was important and what was not important. And some of the types of changes you make aren't actually tracked in change history. So it's really good to keep your own change log. And we use Asana for that. We use Asana for our project management, our task management, and we also use it for our change log. Every ticked task is then logged in Asana, and we know exactly when that was done. So then we've got a bit more explanation for this process here, but let's just look at the checklist. So yeah, every week you want to be checking your bid strategies, your budgets. If you are running manual CPC campaigns, you want to be updating your CPC bids manually, and do not confuse this task for meaning that you change your bids and budgets every single week. No, you check them every single week. When you're running target ROAS, when you're running target CPA, most of the time you're not going to be changing your bids once a week. Like ideally, actually, you don't want to change your bid strategy ever, right? Like the ideal scenario is that it's smooth and nice and you still check it once a week in case something is wrong. But ideally, you change it maximum once a month, once a quarter. And changing it more frequently than that just causes more hassle than it's worth. It's actually just not worth it because the amount of time you spend in learning mode brings down your performance and it's just counterproductive, really. What else do we have here? Let's talk about the seed mining method. This is something we do every week on every search campaign. So the idea with the seed mining method is basically it's search term management, right? Like you're advertising on these keywords, your phrase match, maybe your broad match keywords, they're triggering search terms that are different to the keyword in the account. And it's really important to monitor your search query report every single week and essentially add the good stuff. If there's something in your search query report that is good, add it as a keyword, usually an exact match to your account. And if it's bad, if it's irrelevant, you add it as a negative keyword. And you do really need to do this every single week because otherwise you might be advertising on bad search queries, or there might be good stuff in your search query report that is just not getting as much traffic as it could. And then you need to add it as a keyword so you can get more traffic from it. So this is like the checklist there, but essentially what it means is check your search query report once per week, add the good stuff, neg the bad stuff. Next up, we have search ads testing and optimization. So in a previous video, I actually covered our ideal structure for running your responsive search ads in a search campaign. The ideal structure that I'm recommending at the moment is you have 2 ads per ad group. Each one has 8 headlines and 2 descriptions. And then what's going to happen is your ads will develop a clear winner and a clear loser. So you want to be checking your ads every single week, pausing the losers, writing new challenger ads to try and beat the winner. And then within the ad, so the responsive search ad will have 8 headlines. Within the ad, you can go into the ad, you can check the performance of each individual headline. And much like how you pause a loser ad and write a new challenger ad, you can do that inside the ad with the headlines as well. So those 8 headlines in your responsive search ad, some of them are going to be losers. So you can pause out the losers and replace them with new challenger headlines to try and make that individual responsive search ad even better. So do that weekly. Display targeting, if you're running cold display or retargeted display, you want to be checking your audiences, your keywords, your demographics every single week and optimizing, like cutting out the losers, adding new challenges to try and get something better. So that's kind of the display version of this process. In search, your targeting is your keywords and your search queries. So you want to check that and optimize it weekly. And in display, your targeting is your audiences, your keywords, and demographics. So you want to check that and optimize it weekly. So it's the same kind of thing. It's targeting, right? You want to be checking and optimizing all your targeting across your entire account every single week. Google Ads optimization score. This is just a really simple one. There's an optimization score column in Google Ads. It gives you a score from 0 to 100%. And I think you should always be at 100%. Now, that does not mean that you should be taking all the recommendations from Google and just doing them. No, because most of them are really bad. But instead, what you do is you check the automated recommendations from Google. If there is a good one, you have to use your own judgment here. If there is a good one, then apply it. But if it's a bad one, then you dismiss it. And when you dismiss it, then your score goes up, right? Like, so if you've got 10 recommendations to do, 7 of them are good and 3 of them are bad, then you do the 7 ones, and then you'll still have 3 that are bad. But if you just mark those as dismiss, like get rid of them, then they count as being actioned, right? So you can get your optimization score in Google Ads up to 100%, even if you don't actually do every recommendation. So I like to aim for 100% optimization score, just so that we know we've considered every recommendation. not done every recommendation, considered them. And actually, we don't normally do 70% of them. We normally do like 20 to 30% of them, but most of them are really bad, especially the ones about like, you should add broad match keywords, or you should just up this budget, or you should just do more of this. Google wants you to spend more, so a lot of the recommendations are configured to tell you to do that. But there is good stuff in there as well. So do the good ones, ignore the bad ones, dismiss the bad ones. YouTube targeting, same as display targeting, same as SQR process. This is targeting, but for YouTube. You want to check and optimize that every single week. Placement exclusions for Performance Max. We don't have a checklist there, so let's go into the SOP. So Performance Max is going to run activity across like the display network, across YouTube, across all kinds of places. And you can actually get a list of the placements it's running on, figure out which ones are bad, and then exclude it from Performance Max. So what you do is you open the Performance Max campaigns placement reports. It's in the reports area in Google Ads, export to a Google Sheet, and then you can run some filters, figure out which ones are the rubbish placements that you don't want to be advertising on, and then you can exclude those from your campaign. So this is a really handy one that improves your overall results over time if you run it on a weekly basis. So today I just wanted to cover the weekly ones. In a moment, I want to cover with you some of the important monthly shopping items. So let's cover the feed optimization and fixing feed errors in just a moment. But before we get onto that, I want to show you this. So what I'm showing you with my optimization catalog is just the sort of basic maintenance level optimizations that you need to be running on a recurring basis in every single Google Ads account. Now, what I do also have for you is this, which is a 200 plus points checklist covering every area of your Google Ads account. And this is specific to e-commerce. So if you're new to e-commerce, if you're established in e-commerce, this checklist will guide you through building, optimizing, and running a really high performing e-commerce campaign in Google Ads. So we've got everything you need for shopping ads and Performance Max. We're covering Merchant Center, we're covering product feed, campaign setup, optimizations. We've got the account level stuff that you need to do here, searches here, all the automations, tools, and scripts that we use as a team is included in this tab here. So if you're interested in this more in-depth checklist, the optimization catalog I am giving away for free. The e-commerce checklist that we have here, you can get, it's available at this page here. I'm going to put this link in the description below, but if you're interested in checking out my 200 plus action point e-commerce checklist, do give that a look. Right, back to the optimization catalog, and I wanted to cover with you shopping product feed optimization. Super important. We put it monthly here, but really in a lot of accounts we're running it weekly. Some accounts were running it daily. So these time intervals, weekly, daily, monthly, quarterly, these are all just suggestions, and you really need to customize this to your business, to your account, to your situation. Sometimes something that's monthly, maybe it's okay to run it quarterly. Sometimes some of the weekly stuff can be done monthly. So you need to kind of figure out how this works for you, and that's kind of why we call it a catalog. It's kind of like you flip through, figure out the items and frequencies that work for you and adapt it to your campaign. So the most important parts of product feed optimization are quite simply titles, images, and prices. Everything else is good to optimize, like your description, your product type, your product category. These things don't hurt to optimize, but if you can only do 3 things in your shopping product feed, it's these 3 things, probably in this order: titles, images, prices. Like I put prices third because a lot of the time you have less leeway to optimize those. But titles, you want to be working all the time to make sure that you have the best keywords in your product titles. And images, you want to be testing over time to figure out the image that actually gets the best CTR for your shopping images. Talking of titles, so this is our full SOP for Google Merchant Center product feed optimization. So yeah, you want to check if any products are disapproved. Anything that's disapproved, fixed straight away. And we actually work with Feed Optimize. We have an overwrite sheet, and we write into a Google Sheet what we want to change, and then our feed tool provider then just pulls that into the feed for us. It's a super convenient way of working. You might not have that option with your feed tool provider, so this kind of specific to us. Yeah, you want to do image testing. This is what our product override sheets look like. But if we could boil down this process, it basically comes to this. Check your titles once a week or once a month, try and improve them. And when I say improve them, I mean more keywords, more of the relevant high volume keywords, get those into your title. Images, you want to test different ways of doing your images. Like currently, we're doing a lot of image A/B testing in our product feeds at the moment to test whether solo product pictures work better or lifestyle images work better. And when we say lifestyle, we mean featuring a model or a person in the picture. So sometimes we're testing just having the product on its own. Sometimes we're testing having the product held or worn by an attractive model. And the answer seems to be different for each client. It really depends on the industry or product that you have. It can go either way. So you need to do your own testing and improvement of your images to figure out what works for your business and your product feed. Check and fix any errors. So we covered this just now, but like if there are any errors or warnings in your product feed, you're going to find these in the diagnostic section of Google Ads or the diagnostic section of Google Merchant Center. Any errors or warnings, you want to be checking for those regularly and fixing them, because any product that's disapproved is a product that's not making you money. So get it fixed. Okay, so that's all I wanted to cover with you today on this list. I mean, I could make a hour-long video on every single one of these items alone, so it's too much to go through in this video. As I say, if you want a copy of this catalog, then check the link in the description below. So I am going to pop a link in the description below this video so that you can get your own copy of this. I'll also put a link to the e-commerce checklist in case you want to check that out. And I mentioned earlier our ad copy testing process and how we're structuring ads in Google Ads at the moment. Now, if you check out this video up here, I'm going to dive into that process and I'm going to show you how we got 70% more conversions in our client accounts just by doing this one little trick with the ad copy that you could replicate in your account today. So I highly recommend you check out this video, and I'll see you on the next one.